Oh boy, here we go again. Back to work tonight. Hope you guys had a good reaction Thursday. I told you to save your bullets for today's trading session, but it's time to get back to work. With Friday right around the corner. We're going to finish up what's been a great week tomorrow with you guys on Friday morning. Finally, Friday trading session right around the corner. Great to have you back once again. Thursday evening is September the 23rd, 2021. My name is Joseph, as always, and welcome back to your nightly newsletter. Now, if you're watching for the first time tonight, it is great to have you with me. My job tonight is to help us find the best trades, setting up for tomorrow. That is a Finally Friday trading session. I got a great video in store for you guys and gals tonight. Charts are already in the background, as you can see. S&P's here, no Nasdaq's here, of course, and the gold's always here. Glad to see you are right here with me on this video here tonight. A lot of great trades on our radar for tomorrow. Got some ranges on the Nasdaq and the S&P. Got that big collapse meltdown on the gold. So we got some pullback setups on the metals. We got some breakouts and some failures on the E-minis. You know me. I'm going to make sure we get a great roadmap. By the end of this video, you'll know my favorite trades for Friday to finish the week up on a green note. You'll also know some stuff to avoid tomorrow to keep yourself out of trouble, whether you're trading with me tomorrow in the trade room or you're trading on your own out there. All right, guys, before we jump into the video tonight and get our hands dirty on these charts, I want to make sure to encourage you. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I publish this video with my best trade ideas every evening on this YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe. If you have any questions for me, don't be afraid. Drop those questions in the comment section below. I'd love to answer any questions that you might have. And as always, I appreciate you guys carving out some time every evening. If you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoy making it, hit that like button for me. Really appreciate you guys. But make sure you subscribe, all right? That way you don't miss a brand new psychology series I'm working on coming out next week. So make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and let's get this video going. Introduction is finished. Friday is right around the corner. We got the S&P, get the Nasdaq, and the gold. Like I said before, I hope you saved your bullets. Right for today. Today was a very busy day in our trade room. Hope you guys had a great day out there wherever you were. S&P, Nasdaq are both range bound right now. I'll tell you, there is. I know we're very bullish right now. I mean, let's cut to the chase, right? We're very bullish on the S&P and the Nasdaq, but I'll tell you right now, we have a failed rotation on the Nasdaq. We have potentially a pendulum swing off the high on the S&P. I know. I'm definitely looking the long side here, but there are some great shorts right now on the E-mini and the Nasdaq. Here I got some longs, but I definitely have some great shorts. We'll take a look at that for tomorrow, and of course, we'll talk about the buy side as well. Over on the gold looks ripe for a breakout pullback. Almost the same thing we saw at the beginning of the day on gold today is one of the first things we're looking for here tomorrow, right? Big move down. Anytime we see that much strength, we know the odds are very good for a pop and a retest of that low. So we're basically watching to see what type of pullbacks we get right now on the gold. Everybody waiting for that next shoot a drop as we go lower. And we are sitting at some major support, so if we do happen to see a reversal, absolutely, I've got some reversal patterns I'm looking for tomorrow as well. Again, I'm going to make sure you guys have a great plan of attack no matter which market you are trading for tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, let's make sure we get on the same page though, because we do have a little bit of something going on tomorrow. We got our boy Jay Powell. He's back in the microphone tomorrow. This, of course, is not his testimony, which we saw a couple weeks ago, right? His semi-annual testimony that always kind of makes the markets go to sleep on us. Tomorrow, we do have some big blocks of news. We got home sales numbers at 10 o'clock, which is definitely going to be the big news of the morning tomorrow. And, of course, we got Jerome Powell, our head of the Fed, our Fed speaker here in the U.S. Now, we just heard about from the FOMC on Wednesday. So I'm hoping, we're traders, right? We trade whatever the market gives us. I'm hoping that he doesn't torpedo the personality, the price action tomorrow. Not literally, torpedo going lower, but, kill the personality because it's a Friday. Fridays are always, especially after a big week we've had this week after the FOMC, Fridays can sometimes be a bit dull. Again, we're going to hope for the best tomorrow, but sometimes Fridays can be a little bit slow as we go into the end of a real busy week. I just hope the markets don't take a sleeping pill around that 10 o'clock hour when he starts speaking. This is like I believe he's a keynote speaker at some web event tomorrow. So it's nothing that big. But remember, on Wednesday we heard from the Fed. The Fed on Wednesday said we're looking for tapering, right? They talked about tapering the jobs market and everything, right, on Wednesday. So we'll see what he says tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern time. It's really going to be kind of a game time decision tomorrow as far as what that price action looks like as we go into 10 o'clock Eastern time. Hopefully, maybe a little bit of a slowdown as he starts his speech, but hopefully it doesn't torpedo us too badly. So tomorrow's a Friday. It's always early in, early out. Make your money early in the morning on a Friday. It's not to say you can't trade late after 11, 11:30, 12 o'clock on a Friday. It's just the problem is the markets aren't as consistent, and we as human beings are usually not as disciplined as we get later on a Friday. If you're a robot, I would say sure, right? Go ahead and trade Friday afternoon, but we're not robots, right? So that's the problem with a late in the day Friday afternoon. So early in, early out tomorrow. Get that money early tomorrow with me tomorrow morning in the trade room. 10 o'clock is the home sales number, and cross your fingers. Hopefully the market doesn't slow down too badly in that 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock hour, because as you guys probably noticed, we've seen a lot of really good moves between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock throughout the week here this week. Now, no matter what happens tomorrow, I'll be there with you guys in the trade room. I would love to have you there right there with me. I'll put all the membership links you guys need below this video, either on the website or I'll put it in the description of this YouTube video. Get that link, find one of the membership options if it's well for you, and come out and join me tomorrow morning in our trade room. Early in, early out tomorrow morning on those markets, and hopefully we can get a full session tomorrow, even though we got Jay Powell at 10 o'clock Eastern time. Back to our charts here. S&P, NASDAQ, gold. Let's jump right into the S&P here first. Both the S&P and the NASDAQ are somewhat similar here right now, in the sense that the most important factor right now is we have a bull market into a trading range. Now, whenever we talk about a range-bound market, right, we know we want to find levels of support to buy underneath it. We want to find levels of resistance to sell above it. We focus on failures, and we trade the rotation, right? The rotation. In other words, the market goes up, down, up, and it should be coming down to complete the symmetrical, we call pendulum swing on the other side. So the market, of course, is rotating now off of that trading range. The amount we move above is oftentimes the amount we move below. Bunch of levels there. So sellers are trying to ultimately, at the very least, get back down to that 44, 21, 22 and change. At the very most, of course, they love to go back into that range where we began the morning this morning. And you'll notice that's also last Friday's closing price. So it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if this market completely tanked and ran right back into the same place we finished only 1 week ago. At the same time, though, the buyers have all of this momentum. It doesn't take a lot to find a channel on here and say, oh, look at that, buy off that channel, right? This doesn't take a lot of experience to find that channel right now. It's a lot of strength for these buyers. So would I be surprised if this market blasted higher for another leg higher up to these key levels at 44.75? Definitely not. Wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Would I be surprised if we rotated down and then caught that support level and then blasted right back up? That shouldn't surprise you either, because again, we have a lot of very bullish momentum here right now. And I'm not sure you guys saw that today, but that 9:45 PMI number came out right as expected. And basically bad news is good news right now for the S&P and the NASDAQ, which there wasn't it was a pretty high inflation number this morning at 9:45, which is probably what sparked this big rally, right? Bad news for inflation means good news for the stimulus, right? Keeping the party flowing from the Fed. So long story short, I think there's some great shorts off the high right now. I think there's some great longs if we can pull back here as well. So let's break this thing down as we go higher, right? Let's talk about as we go higher. There is a beautiful two-try failure setting up right off this high. Now, we've talked a lot about this particular pattern over the past couple newsletters. This is a really, really nice setup for a couple different reasons. One, you can see, of course, we've got this big bull run up. The buyers have now tried once. The buyers will hopefully try twice. And if you look closely, I'm lining up that little low, I'm lining up at that high. It just lines up perfectly. It just lines up perfectly. Now, of course, we're going into the overnight session right now, so we'll see if we can get that trigger. But that is a fantastic short. We call these two-try failures, and this would kind of be a two-try reversal at this point. The target, of course, is back at the other side of that pendulum swing, right, as we go. I also wouldn't be afraid to go up and take out that high, because after all, it's a very strong move going higher. Take out that high, and then look for the same thing. Look for the same 1, 2, and then back down again, right? So kind of look for this pattern. Look for that as we push up, retest the high, right? That would make perfect sense because of all that strength going higher there. Buyers come over. They try to buy it once. They try to buy it twice. All their stops now are sitting right below that low, right? And we can dump it back down into that range, which of course acts as a magnet. So that will be some ways I would like to sell this market as the market goes higher. Now, as far as buying this thing right now, the biggest problem the buyers have is this trading range. They definitely have all the momentum. They definitely have all that momentum. There's no doubt about that. Only problem is you can imagine there'll be a lot of profit taking at that high and a lot of short sellers trying to come in and grab that thing back going lower again. So knowing that, there are kind of 3 types of breakouts I would look for in this scenario. One would be a push back to retest the high, a pullback to the moving average, and a jump off the moving average. Once we call these 1, 2, 3 breakouts. Once we get that 1, 2, 3 breakout, then mark that high, mark that low, and I want the first pullback, right? The first pullback off the low of that channel. Now, I say pullback, but my 2 favorite kind of entry setups off the lows are usually going to be bear traps, seller failures, and then into pullbacks. Now, keep in mind, this is a 9,000 tick chart, right? I'm not going to be trading that entry off a 9,000 tick chart. What I'll do is I'll drill down to my entry time frames, right? And I'll look for the bear trap entry, the failure entry, or the pullback entry as we come off the top of that or the bottom of that channel. Now, guys, I can't unfortunately go over all those small details in this video. This video is already long enough, but I'll tell you, I cover all the details in our quick start class. We have a great shortcut course. I'll put a little button there for you. It's free on our website, and that quick start course teaches the exact same 3-step strategy that we use every single day in our trade room to find the 3 to 5 best trades every day. I'll tell you, if you're trying to earn consistent daily income in these markets right now, that quick start class will give you a roadmap and a format and a strategy to follow. I have hundreds of examples of how we apply this stuff in our trade room. You'll love it. So if you haven't grabbed it yet, definitely grab the quick start course in the upper right-hand corner. And then that way, the next time I say 1, 2, 3 breakout, find that new channel and buy the first test, right? The first test, the best test. You'll know what type of entry signals I'm using, how I draw the channel, etc., etc. That's one way to buy it as we go higher here. Another way I can buy this as we go higher would be a 2-try trap. Let's say, for example, we see a strong breakup, a shallow pullback to the moving average, and a higher high. That is where traps come in. And that is one of my favorite trades right now. You can see an example of that right here, right? Strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price, right? That 2-try trap. That is the same exact setup I'm talking about right there. We see a lot of those in our trade room, that 2-try trap, that 2-try breakout pattern. Another thing to kind of keep in mind here for tomorrow is if we were to really see a blast up, right? Blast up. Now that prior high becomes a great level of support now. Now look for that deep pullback. Look for those sellers to come in. And we saw a bunch of these today, right? One on gold going short. Look for those bears getting short, trying to go back down again and just hit them. Right? Buy right into those stop losses. These kind of breakout pullbacks are excellent. Again, think about a strong move up, This resistance now becomes a level of support. The moving average comes up. We then, of course, almost like V-top, right? We push up, we slam lower. The bears now come over and go, ooh, nice, short back down. Once they try to get short, remember, all of this momentum, right? All of that momentum. Once those bears get short now all their stops are sitting right above that high. I can buy into stop losses. I can buy that pullback combination. And of course, my objective failure pullback combination, right, is that measured move, right? Measured move, 76 and a quarter is that major top up there from right back around the beginning of the month of September. That's, of course, how I'd like to buy this as we go higher. And then once we get up there, we'll find some shorts up there to sell it back down, maybe a range up there. We'll keep an eye on that for more information tomorrow. Once we get up there, we'll know more tomorrow morning in our trade room. How about if the market goes lower? Right? What if we go lower? Well, I guess first of all, if we sit sideways here, we sit on hands, right? Stay out of the middle if we sit sideways. If we could go lower here though, right? This is where things get pretty good here for both sides. There are really good trades here on both sides if this thing goes lower. First of all, if it goes lower and it really starts to push and take off, that's exactly where you start looking at those traps. Right? That's exactly where you start looking for those traps here. Because now, remember, think about it. Now you have all of that momentum going lower, right? I know. There's support here. I get it. There's a lot of support there. But when these markets, when there's a range in the middle and they go up and rotate back down, if this thing starts to really kick, again, strong move down, shallow pullback is usually the giveaway. That kind of drives the bears crazy. The lower low confirms the move, and that's that trap comes in. That'd be a great short as we go lower. And keep in mind, too, this pattern could happen down here. It really could happen, really anywhere as we're going lower here. Just make sure you keep an eye on that trap as we go. As we go lower as well, it could easily be just a 1, 2, 3 move. This wouldn't surprise me at all. We take out that low, right? That's expected. The bears, of course, come in. They hit it with that strong move down. Now find your new channel, mark up that low, mark up that high. And again, drill down to your faster time frame, find your trap entry, find your failure entry, your pullback combination on the faster time frame, right? If you've taken the quick start class, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, how do we buy this thing down here? Again, it's very easy to find support, right? You can find that prior level there. So if we find our way down to this pendulum swing, I love pendulum swings. They're very, very reliable, very consistent in a range environment. Let's say we do take the low out, and now let's look for something like this. We got a lot of momentum, right? A lot of momentum right now. But now, instead of the bears coming in and getting it going lower, now the bears come in, they try once, and they struggle. They can't get it done. Once that happens, now they go, oh, okay, so bears aren't as strong as we thought they were. Now, of course, if the bears take it lower here now this is that 1, 2, 3 breakdown. We mark up our channel, right, and we hit that first pullback, right, like I mentioned earlier. However, if these bears now try a second time now to go lower, now we have that same 2-try failure. Now I can grab a trap below that low, or I can wait for a little hidden channel off that low, right? Nice strong signal candle. Remember, think about it. All the bears now are trapped into these lows now, right? All the bears are trapped right at an area of support. Range above you is the magnet. 1 try, 2 try. Is it a trap? Is it a trend line test? Is it just running the stops? That, of course, is a very viable option. Now, don't forget, we also have that big move up. So we know they want to go where? They want to retest that high. Okay, when that happens, what do? You go out, you mark up your new channel, and you trade the rotation, right? Trade the rotation, just like we saw today on the S&P and the Nasdaq, right? So we get the 2-try failure. We then, as the market pops up, a lot of times this move up looks like this. And it will, some variation of this, right? But it'll be a trap. A lot of times that's your best entry. Like I mentioned this last night in the video last night, right? Sometimes the failure pattern isn't clean or isn't clear, or maybe you're new at this, you're not quite convinced yet. But once that thing turns though, that trap, That's a must-take trade. It's a must-take trade at that point now, going back up to retest the high, right? So definitely have some great options here for the buy side as we go higher. Got the long side, got the short side, got the reversals, got the breakouts, got a great plan of attack for tomorrow. Again, cross your fingers. We get some good personality tomorrow, so we're not dealing with, J Powell at 10 o'clock Eastern time. Let's keep going. How about some NASDAQ? So NASDAQ is very similar to the S&P, as you can see. It's similar in the sense that we have a bull break, bull move higher. We've got the range. And, of course, ranges act like magnets. Okay, whenever we see a range, our job is to find support levels below the range, buy back up, find resistance levels above the range, and sell back down. Right? Simple as that, right? So find levels of support below to buy out the lows, find levels of resistance to sell off the highs. Now, let's get this cleaned up here real quick. One thing about ranges is they love rotation, right? Well, everything loves rotation, right? A trending market, right? A trending market will rotate back and forth in a channel, right? We call that rotation. Bounces back and forth, rotates back and forth. A range market will rotate inside the range back and forth. If it breaks down, again, it oftentimes will rotate back up in the same amount, right? Or something close to it. And that's where you can see we have a problem. We definitely have what you would call a failed rotation. Now, that may be nothing. It may be nothing. It might be a spike in channel. Let's face it, right? This could be just a little spike in channel up here, and they're going to hit it again at the low of that channel, right? Or they may pull it back into the base of that channel and hit it down here, right? But right now, though, that's a pretty good clue of what may come here next for both sides of this market. That failed rotation is a pretty good clue. You can also see this 44 area overhead here. This is kind of that low, if you will, of that prior range, right? We talked about something similar to this last night. We talked about how sometimes they'll bail out of that range, come back, and then hit it again from there, right? So you can definitely see how this area could easily just be, it may not be as big of a deal as it seems to be right now, but it sure as heck is a pretty good clue here that I hope the bears will take advantage of. So that's kind of the big difference here between the S&P and the NASDAQ. The S&P is that rotation coming off the high. The NASDAQ, of course, has potentially here a failed rotation going higher. Now, how do we buy it? How do we sell it? Again, there is no doubt about direction right now. It's a very bull market. It's been very bullish here for the last couple of days here, right? There's no question about the overall direction of this trend. So we got to play it carefully if we want to be a seller on this, but there definitely are some options here to get short. Let's talk about as we go higher. As we go higher, there really isn't as much of a setup as we have in the S&P. The S&P is a beautiful potential short setup. We're rotating off the high. We don't have that right now on the NASDAQ. So as we go higher here, there definitely is going to be shorts off the high, but you're going to want to wait for this to get back up into that channel, as you can see, right? As the market kind of rotates back and forth. So think about how the market went up here. The buyers tried once, the buyers tried twice, and you can sell it back down again, right? We go up, the buyers try once, the buyers try twice, and we sell it back down again. Same thing. We go up, we take out that high, we retest the high of that channel. The buyers try once, the buyers try twice, sellers are stuck, right? Or buyers are stuck, and bears can now sell right into that rotation back lower. We're going to be going against the trend in this one, so we're not going to look for that rotation when you go against the trend, right? If it was a bear market, I would say yes, right? Trade that failure into that first test of that channel. But again, this isn't a bear market yet, right? So we'll take that first one, the failure, and then look to buy it up off of that low. Can I buy it as it goes higher? This is probably where the S&P has a little bit of an advantage over the NASDAQ right now, because if you look at it, there really isn't an easy way for these NASDAQ buyers to do this unless they buy it down here. right? They already kind of saw some rejection at that high. They've already failed that rotation. So the only way I can really justify buying this right now would be I'd like to get this thing to, well, like you mentioned earlier, right? There are kind of three ways you could do this. One would be to retest the high or, make a move higher. The buyers come in and buy and jump, right? Didn't do it here, didn't do it there. Right? Can I trust that one? No, right? Definitely can't buy that, but I can wait for the 1, 2, 3 breakout. Then I have enough evidence. I can mark that high, mark that low. And again, this is a 4,000 tick chart tonight on the Nasdaq here. I'm not going to trade a 4,000 tick chart. We'll drill down to our faster time frame. And as I mentioned, inside that quick start class, linked up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll get a glimpse and you'll get all the details of the price action setups that we use to, for all the long, shorts, pretty much everything we do in our trade room. So definitely grab that, that first pullback. Again, I say pullback, right? It could be any of our price action entries off the low of that channel, but buy that first test, right? First test is always the best test, right? As we go higher there. So we got that covered as we go up. I could also see too, what is currently resistance right now, right? That area overhead as resistance. It's not difficult to think that this market may blast up, right? Get above that, really blast through it, pull back, rope in those bears, get that failure into pullback combination, right? That could easily happen, especially if we see a very, very strong run higher there, right? Very strong pull back higher, right? We blast up, we pull back, we trap in those bears, right? We get that failure into pullback combination, right? Failure, pullback combination. Again, I'm just simply kind of drawing on the screen right now, but I have probably 100 examples in our quick start class about how that failure leads into that pullback combination. You'll see a lot of examples if we apply that on our favorite markets in that free trading class. So make sure you grab that in the upper right-hand corner. So we got that pushing going higher here. And then, of course, if the market simply was to, let's say, really spike and run higher, right, really spikes and runs higher here, I can always grab that shallow pullback, higher high, that trap entry, right, off of that low. These are always good for at least a retest of that high, right? Look over here. Strong run up, shallow pullback, higher high in price. What do you think? You think buyers want to? Yes, absolutely. Now, good example back here, right? You may not get this thing to go to the moon, right? That trade may not go to the moon, but it's definitely going to give me a 1-to-1 first target. Let me move that stop the point of entry, lock out the risk, and trail it. You never know how far they're going to go. It might go to the moon. You never know, right? Our job is to put ourselves in as many high percentage trades as we can each day. And that, my friends, is a very high percentage. Maybe sometimes it goes only a couple points for you, right? Make a few $100. Maybe it really goes and pops and you make a few $1,000 off it, right? You never know. You never know. That's the beauty of trading, right? We go out there, we swing at good pitches, right? We try to put our ourselves in the most high percentage trades as possible. Again, when you have all of that momentum running higher, that trap very likely going to at least get a retest of that high or at least get something out of it. Move that stop to point of entry, trail that stop. I talk about all the trade management, by the way, in that quick start class. So now we know how to buy it as we're going higher here. I got a measured move overhead there at 428 and a bunch of big runaway levels up top there, 490, 520, and of course that 521 area, which is that big top like the S&P has up overhead as well. So we'll see if we get the breakout. We'll definitely see. The buyers have to prove it to us though if we be buying this thing as it goes higher. What if we go lower? What if we go lower? This is definitely a situation where, because we have that failed rotation right off the high, this is definitely a situation where if we were to run lower, get that lower low in price, that shallow pullback, that lower low in price, right? That trap would be money, baby. That's a great trade right there. And you can see what happens, right? Sometimes you don't get the lower low. Sometimes what happens is it goes lower and you go, oh, hold on. Nope, we're not going lower low. Bears try once. Bears try twice and then back up, right? And again, same thing as the S&P, right? We know the bears are going to have a lot of momentum at this point. They get their failed rotation. So the bears are definitely going to be hitting this. They're going to try their best. We're going to be at support levels below the range, right? And we're also, as I mentioned earlier, think of this as a spike in channel. If you tune in every evening and watch this video, you've heard me talk about spike in channels and how the base of that channel is oftentimes a great spot to get long. So we definitely have some buy side opportunities right at that low there. It all depends on what happens, right? Now, again, failed rotation off the high, a lot of momentum coming down off that high. The way that I'll be looking to buy this is it'll look just like this. It will. Now, I will say we didn't need a 2-try failure on this pullback earlier, right? Because earlier, all we had was that strong run up into a range. Okay, with all that momentum, all you need is that failure and pop up. Right? This one just got a little bit weird there as it went into lunch, right? This time around, though, you are going to want that 2-try failure because, again, we are rotating off the high of the range. We have failed rotation as well. So it's not the same market situation as it was at, noontime here today. So as we go lower, do the bears come in, try once, try twice, and fail? Stops again above those highs. I can grab my trap. I can grab my trend line test, right? Nice strong signal candle there, buying right into those sellers' stop losses. And again, because we are so bullish overall, I can now mark up that high, I can mark up that low, I can drill down, and I can again be very aggressive on that entry, right? That's one of those entries that, again, the gig is up, the bears have failed, and now we're looking for that move back up to retest those highs. It's a failure, a 2-try failure because of what I talked about earlier into that first pullback, or that first test off the low of that channel. And then again, if this thing starts to just roll, right, and run lower, that's exactly where those traps come in handy, right? Traps are always your best friend if we do start to kind of grind and run lower, right? So keep an eye on that. Or, maybe we go lower, if we take out that low, we bounce and we jump right off the moving average. Again, didn't do it there. We'll see if they can do it here. If they can, we'll mark that low, we'll mark that high, we'll drill down to our faster time frame tomorrow, and we'll grab that short off the high of that channel. Where's our objective as we go lower here? The objective is, I think, pretty clear here. Get that range from the end of the day yesterday. That would be an easy magnet. So you would think these lows down here, 15,100, 15,120 or so, would definitely be where the bears would love to get to it. All right, guys, don't forget tomorrow, big news at 10 o'clock Eastern time, and we get Jerome Powell speaking. So earlier the better tomorrow morning in our trade room. And of course, hopefully Jay Powell doesn't put us to sleep tomorrow into that 10 o'clock hour. Let's wrap things up here now on the gold, the yellow metal. Talk about that breakout pullback, right? We got a couple different options on this yesterday, but if you recall from last night's video, right, we talked about how they were rotating down, right? That rotation down, there's that 2-try trap, right there. Great example we just talked about earlier, 2-try trap. And then look what happens. It doesn't go very far, right? It retests a low. Like I said, you might not get a killing out of that trade, but you almost always get at least a good first target. It then picks back up, and sure enough, buyers get roped in, and that was the big move of the session there today. So very, very good example of kind of how those breakout pullbacks work, right? Where the market will tank and then find a way back into the underbelly of that trading range. Now, going forward, we could definitely see we have a very strong trend going lower. There is an exclamation point at the end of the day today. The bears getting, we call, an open loop move. Open loop moves are strong breakaway moves. They have a very high percentage, right, of retesting at that low. And our job right now is to find levels of resistance to get short off of that, right off of that bounce. That's really what it comes down to right now. As you can see, we do have a range on this chart. And so it's very easy right now to kind of look at this and go, okay, bear move down into a bit of a range there. I know it's probably more like a spike in channel than anything else, but range right there for sure. They break down. Could we get back up and hit it from there? I have that trend line coming down, that channel coming down. Great spot up in this area. These are one of those situations on gold right now where the momentum on this is so strong that we really have to just kind of wait and see what we get on this. There are basically three types of pullbacks that you want to look for whenever you have a really strong trend like this or a really strong move like this. The first one is called a two-try trap or a trap setup. So let's say, for example, we don't get a deep pullback. All we get is a very shallow pullback. And there's a couple of reasons why this might happen. There could be a channel drawn like this. That channel could be much steeper. If this was, 9:45 tomorrow morning, I'd be drawing that channel really, really steep. It's obviously going to the overnight session right now, so I try to keep it as simple as possible for us here on this video. But, there's a definite possibility this channel can be a lot steeper here. And so we may see a real shallow pullback, into that area right there. The problem really is this point now, the underbelly of that range is just asking to get hit. I don't want to miss the retest of that low. There's a very good chance that they're going to retest that low. So as we pull back, right, if all we do is, get this little guy right there, what I'll do is I'll look for a 1, a 2, a trap, and a trap entry on the pullback here. Traps are always your best whenever you're worried about, in this case, selling relatively low. And that's exactly what we're looking for here on a really shallow pullback. So shallow pullbacks are great with trap entries, right? And again, you'll learn a lot more about traps in that quick start class. Traps are my favorite of all the entry setups in our 3-step strategy. But like everything else, you got to make sure you're using them in the right locations. I cover all those smaller details in that video course linked up in the right-hand corner. What if we do get this thing back up into this area there? This is exactly where you can find that buyer failure into that pullback combination. These are very, very common setups when you have a very strong move in one direction. Buyers pop up, they try, they fail, right? Buyers pop up, they try, they fail, buyer failure pattern into that pullback pattern combination. Beautiful, beautiful setup. And then let's face it, there's also quite a bit of resistance up above the top of this range here. Would it totally surprise me if the market blew right through this, took out these highs? Because there's one kind of common, one thing about this, it probably is a spike in channel. And one thing about spike in channels, they love to give you those deep pullbacks. And they give those deep pullbacks like this, what do? You don't get too aggressive on it. You wait for the buyers to try once. Yep, you wait for them to try twice. You got it right. Leverage that 2-try rule. All those stops now are sitting right below that low. And maybe I get lucky and get a trap entry off the high, right? And when we get lucky, we get a little trend line entry off that high, right? So nice, strong signal candle there. Sends the market running lower. Mark that low, mark that high. Dig your heels in now and grab that first pullback, right? That's a great re-entry on it. Or the market collapses. We start running, right? We're running lower. Strong move down, shallow pullback, right? Trap high. See what I'm saying? Right? That's kind of the same idea there. I don't want to chase it. I want to sell that trap as we go. But these are definitely some ways we can short this thing as we go higher. Buyer failure, a 2-try failure into, of course, that trap setup as we try to retest that low. Now, of course, at the same time, if we pop back up, if these buyers can miraculously, I shouldn't say miraculously, right? I mean, we are at some major support down here, right? I mean, this is a pretty big area of support, by the way. It's a monster. So we definitely have a lot of support there. Now, again, if you're a client of mine, you know that I don't really care where I am in the chart. If I have enough momentum, I'm looking for the short side, right? But, hey, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Maybe it does pop back up. Maybe the buyers do hold that pullback and they jump. Okay, now, again, I'm not going to buy the first pullback. No way. Right? You'll get stuff like this that will pop up and fail. But if they can get that 1, 2, 3 reversal, I can definitely now drill down, find my new channel, right? Find that entry off of that low. Makes sense? Okay, failure pattern, traps pattern, pullback combination off of that low. Where would the buyers try to go on that point? Where are they going? Yeah, they want to go back where they came from. Right? Definitely. They want to go back to this area up here. It would make perfect sense, right? There's a range. Right, so big range up there. So back to retest those highs here from today. Doesn't seem likely right now, but hey, we're talking about stimulus these days. A lot of Fed stuff going on right now, so this could easily rip higher on some weird news that happens overnight. Right, China does something overnight. The market may rip higher here, and we may easily have a 1, 2, 3 run. the markets now starts to run. Maybe it's a little trap entry off that low, right? Whatever we get, right? I mean, the key is you want that first test. That's always the first test as we make the run back up. And then we'll see how we do as we go higher from there. If we go lower, right? If the market here continues to grind lower, right? If the market continues to grind lower, okay? What is that called? That's called a spike and channel. There are a couple different options when it comes to a spike and channel. I can look for a trap entry above that prior high, right? Traps, of course, will usually be just above a prior high there, right? A little trap entry there as we go. That will be great. You can kind of see earlier on, market rolls lower, grinds lower, right? Grinds lower. What do they do? They're selling traps, right? They're selling traps above those highs there. That same idea there is going to happen. Well, hopefully it happens over there. Or sometimes what happens is if we start to grind lower, sometimes you'll get that big pop. And if it gives you that big pop, if you don't get that little grind trap, right, pops back up on some strength, maybe that's the 10 o'clock news tomorrow, right? Maybe that's the 10 o'clock news pops up on strength tomorrow. Remember, it's not a reversal until they hold the pullback. Okay, so what do? They pop back up, let the buyers come in, try to buy that pullback, sell right into their stop losses for that failure, into that pullback combination, buyer failure, pullback, back down to retest that low. Where are the bears trying to get to as we go lower? Next big objective is 1718.5 here. That's our next big level as we go lower here. Does seem like quite a bit to ask for tomorrow after a big move today, but hey, we'll see what happens. Last but not least, it was a pretty big move today. So if for some reason we go sideways here tomorrow, anytime we see a big move today, oftentimes the following day is sideways or range bound. If we do end up seeing a range bound market down here, what do? We find levels of resistance above the range. We wait for the breakup. You got it. We trap in those buyers with a breakout pullback, and we hit them right where it hurts, right? We sell right into those stop losses with that failure setup we talk about so much here on this video. All right, so keep in mind, ranges are very, very likely the day after a big move. It's like I go run a marathon today. I'm going to probably take tomorrow off and hit the couch. Kind of same idea there. All right, guys? So watch out for those ranges. And of course, I'm sure I missed something tonight. I'm sure the market will throw us some curveball tomorrow. So that is why our trade room is such an advantage. I would love to have you guys with me tomorrow morning, every morning at the opening bell, 8 o'clock Eastern time. We open up, we do a mental prep, we do a chart prep, and we trade together all the way through till lunch. We've had a great week so far this week. I hope I will see you there tomorrow to finish the week with a bang. I'll put all the details below me tonight in the description, or of course on our website here at Sideways Markets or schooloftrade.com. Don't be afraid to call the office. I'm always here if you guys have questions. I've got live chat on the left. I got live chat on the right. And you can always drop those questions in the comment section below if you need help along the way. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you'll take that free quick start class right on our website. And of course, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow morning, every morning in our trade room. My name is Joseph. If I don't see you guys tomorrow morning, have a great weekend. Come back next week. Get a big end of the week or end of the month week coming at us next week here. End of the month is always one of the best times to be a trader. But that's it for me, guys. Be well out there. Be nice to each other, will ya? And be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.